give you money, technology, infrastructure, and fix the existing wall and a few more miles of wall.
Get together and make a deal. I don't know how Democrats around and go back to those almost 2 million dreamers and say, we said no. We said no to you becoming citizens because of something in the future with theoretical other immigrants. It's going to be a real challenge for them. We'll see. Yep. Karl Rove, thank you so much. We appreciate your insight.
After a shameful trial, the dictatorship sentenced Otto to 15 years of labor. Before returning him to America last June, he passed away just days after his return. Tonight we pledge to honor Otto's memory with total American resolve. Thank you.
President Trump, of course, honoring the memory of Otto Warmbier during his State of the Union address. Otto, as you may know, was the 22-year-old University of Virginia student who died in June, just days after his release from a North Korean prison. And now we're learning that Otto's father, Fred, well, he will travel to South Korea with Vice President Mike Pence to attend the Winter Olympics. Joining us with more on this is Governor John Sununu, former White House Chief of Staff to President George H.W. Bush. Governor, I think this is brilliant. It's a vivid, compelling, emotional reminder to the world of the unforgiving brutality of Kim Jong-un's regime by having Mr. Warmbier there.
Not only brilliant, it's important. The North Koreans have been very successful since the Clinton administration in creating either false sympathy. You know, they talked about the starving North Koreans and we gave them food, etc., and other processes to create an incentive for the West to kick the can of their nuclear development down the road. The president has said there is no more road. The North Koreans tried to create some road with the charm offensive at the Olympics, and I think Mr. Warmbier and Mike Pence are going to remind the world that it is time to end strategic patience and put pressure by their presence there on the Chinese and the Russians to start participating in fixing the development of nuclear weapons in North Korea as a threat to the world.
Well, you know, the vice president has been saying that it's a charade. You know, the South Korean, North Koreans operating under a banner, the women's ski team, you know, that North Korean singer is being treated like Lady Gaga. That is all a false propaganda parade to help Kim Jong-un, who will not give up his nuclear weapons or back down at all.
He's exactly right on that. And as much as we are in concert with the South Koreans in trying to find a peaceful diplomatic resolution to this issue, frankly, we are also concerned that the South Koreans may be inclined to buy into this new charm offensive. And I think they, too, are important recipients of the message being created by the trip, Mr. Warmbier's presence, and the vice president's strong word.
So as we watch the Olympics, and we, of course, will watch out for Warmbier, what are your thoughts? What should Americans keep in mind as we see what rolls out over the next month? And we know what the reality is.
Look, we should remember the concern that we all expressed when the false alarm occurred in Hawaii. And that was a message to us of the reality of the threat of a North Korea with nuclear weapons and launch capacity that can reach parts of the U.S. We cannot let them get to that point in reality. And I think as they see this charm offensive, they ought to tell themselves, we're not going to fall for this. We're going to recognize to put pressure on the Russians, the Chinese, and our friends in South Korea to figure out how to stop this.
That is fair. Governor John Sununu, thank you as always. And I see your book, The Quiet Man, up over your shoulder. So
thanks,
good to
Eric.
see you as always. Thank you.
Pointing it out. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You'll remember last month, the Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, along with another Senate Republican, Lindsey Graham, sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department asking for an investigation of the former British spy Christopher who compiled the dossier on the basis that they said there was evidence that he had lied to the FBI about his contacts with the media and the district of the dossier. Now, if you can come back to me just a second, you can see we have now received an unclassified version of that criminal referral, and you can see it's very heavily redacted. But buried within the document is a new allegation by the senators that Clinton associates also fed information to Steele. And it reads in part, "It is troubling enough that the Clinton campaign funded Mr. Steele's work, but that these Clinton associates were contemporaneously feeding Mr. Steele allegations raises additional concerns about his credibility." The names of the individuals are redacted in that document, and Senators Graham and Grassley are asking the Justice Department and FBI to now do an emergency declassification because they think much of the document should now be public because information is consistent with what was in that House Intelligence Committee memo that was released on Friday. I think it's worth noting that it may be a case of overclassification by the FBI and Justice Department because there are portions where they redact the title of media reports, including a Washington Post report about the dossier, Sandra.
Any particulars on the information that you're learning that the Clinton associates fed to Steele, Catherine?
It's so heavily redacted, I wouldn't want to guess, but it's very clear. They make the allegation that Clinton associates were also feeding information to Steele at the same time he compiled this dossier, though they reached no conclusions over whether Steele in fact used that information or whether it was used by the FBI to verify elements of the dossier.
A makeshift memorial of stuffed animals sits where a little girl once was.
Especially that baby is so young and innocent and, helpless outside, don't know what to do at that point.
Akron police investigated the 2-year-old's death. She was found unresponsive in the cold on her front porch Friday afternoon.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy because she was that young and what was she doing outside?
Shayla Johnson lives next door to the family at the apartment complex on Drive and often saw the girl and her brother alone.
They would be out there just playing around. It would be her and her older brother just playing around outside at the park.
The tragic story reaching the pastor of a nearby church.
They need love and compassion and support is what they need.
Pastor Larry Baldridge says his community plans to reach out to the little girl's family.
Well, when the name's released, we will certainly be open to helping any way we can with the needs of the family, to offer any spiritual support.
Hello? Hear that? Am I coming through loud and clear?
commercialized commentary, but can you hear what I'm saying?